Imagine an island so exclusive that only the richest, most powerful celebrities call it home. Star Island in Miami is that place, a paradise of luxury, privacy, and unimaginable wealth. But behind its sparkling mansions and pristine waterfronts, whispers of dark secrets have begun to surface. At the center of it all stands Sean "Diddy" Combs, a music mogul who rose to fame in the 90s and built an empire that stretched far beyond the charts. In 2003, Diddy bought his first mansion on Star Island, marking the beginning of his real estate dominance. Known for his lavish lifestyle and love for extravagance, Diddy spared no expense in creating a haven that matched his superstar image. His first mansion, complete with a lagoon-style pool and state-of-the-art amenities, became the ultimate party hotspot for Hollywood's elite. But for Diddy, one mansion wasn't enough. By 2021, he purchased the property next door for a staggering $35 million, turning his estate into a sprawling compound of pure luxury. Featuring a 35-seat theater, a grotto-style pool, and rumored secret rooms, the compound was designed not just as a home, but as a stage for his legendary parties. These gatherings weren't just events, they were spectacles. A-list celebrities like DJ Khaled, The Weeknd, and countless others flocked to Diddy's infamous New Year's Eve celebrations. For years, Star Island was a place where Diddy's larger-than-life persona thrived, a playground for the rich and famous. But beneath the surface of this glitzy facade, cracks were beginning to form. Whispers started circulating about the true nature of Diddy's parties. Some called them the stuff of legends, but others hinted at something far darker. Rumors of secret tunnels connecting the mansions, late-night deliveries of mysterious cargo, and unexplained renovations to hidden rooms added to the growing sense of unease. Star Island, once a beacon of opulence, was becoming the setting for a darker story. By mid-2023, suspicions intensified. A violent death on the island, a man found brutally stabbed, made headlines and sparked speculation. While authorities ruled it an isolated incident, locals and insiders began piecing together unsettling patterns. Other reports of suicides and unexplained disappearances raised the question: was Star Island as idyllic as it seemed, or was it harboring something sinister? What made these rumors even more compelling was their connection to Diddy. His legendary parties, once celebrated as extravagant celebrations of fame and success, were now being painted as something far more insidious. Witnesses claimed that attendees often left looking visibly shaken, some never returning. An anonymous staff member broke their silence, stating, "These weren't just parties. What happened behind those doors would shock you." For Diddy, a man who had built his career on charisma and charm, the shift in public perception was jarring. The same community that once celebrated his rise as a hip-hop icon began questioning the legacy he had created. What was once a narrative of ambition and success was now becoming a story riddled with doubt and suspicion. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of Star Island and the events surrounding Sean "Diddy" Combs, one question looms large: how much of this is truth, and how much is myth? And if the rumors are true, how far does the darkness reach beneath the shimmering waters of Star Island? Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking twist that transformed Diddy's empire from a symbol of triumph into a symbol of scandal. The truth, as they say, is often stranger than fiction. Star Island, the epitome of luxury, has long been a retreat for the elite. Mansions here are more than homes. They're fortresses of privacy for the rich and powerful. But in recent years, whispers have turned to shouts, and the jewel of Miami's coastline is now the center of troubling rumors. At the heart of it all is Sean "Diddy" Combs, whose sprawling estate has become the subject of growing suspicion. The signs were subtle at first. Delivery trucks arriving at odd hours of the night, leaving behind crates that were carefully shrouded from view. Renovations on Diddy's property seemed routine, but locals began questioning the construction of underground tunnels rumored to connect the estate's secret rooms. These weren't just idle speculations. They were fueled by accounts from workers who claimed to have seen blueprints for hidden passageways. By 2023, these rumors took on a darker tone. In July, a man was found stabbed to death on Star Island. The victim had no ties to the local community, and the case was shrouded in mystery. Law enforcement dismissed it as an isolated act of violence, but those familiar with the island began piecing together a larger puzzle. This wasn't the first tragedy to strike Star Island. Reports of suicides and sudden disappearances had quietly circulated for years. What made this situation more alarming were the allegations tied to Diddy's legendary parties. Once considered the pinnacle of opulence, these gatherings had become the source of disturbing rumors. Attendees spoke of an eerie atmosphere that set these events apart from typical celebrity parties. People who went to these gatherings rarely spoke about them afterward. Some described a controlled environment where everyone's actions seemed monitored. A former staff member broke their silence, saying, "There was a strict code of secrecy. You didn't ask questions, and you didn't look too closely at what was happening." They also claimed that certain areas of the mansion were off-limits, guarded by high-tech security systems and menacing bouncers. Adding fuel to the fire were unconfirmed reports of unusual shipments arriving under the cover of darkness. These shipments allegedly included substances and items linked to activities far beyond the scope of any innocent gathering. Witnesses described seeing crates being unloaded into parts of the mansion that were not accessible to regular guests. The sense of unease surrounding Star Island grew. One chilling rumor suggested that the hidden rooms on Diddy's estate were equipped with surveillance cameras, capturing every moment of these exclusive parties. What purpose these recordings served remains unclear, but the implications are deeply unsettling. Then came the stories about those who left Diddy's parties. While many simply seemed to disappear from the public eye, others emerged visibly shaken, refusing to discuss what they had experienced. A musician who attended one of these gatherings later shared, "It wasn't what I expected. It was like being in a movie, except it wasn't a movie. It felt wrong." For years, these whispers remained just that, whispers. But as more details surfaced, the picture they painted grew darker and more ominous. What had once been seen as the glamorous escapades of a music mogul now seemed more like the script of a psychological thriller. By late 2023, the narrative surrounding Diddy had shifted dramatically. Star Island was no longer just a haven for the rich. It had become a place of unease and speculation. The luxurious walls of Diddy's estate seemed to hide more than just wealth. They appeared to conceal secrets that could shatter reputations and lives. As these rumors gained traction, one question became impossible to ignore. What is Sean Diddy Combs hiding behind the gates of his Star Island paradise? The unease was palpable, and it wasn't just the locals who were asking questions. Authorities began paying attention, setting the stage for a series of events that would bring these suspicions into the harsh light of reality. What started as whispers of odd behavior and mysterious happenings was quickly turning into a full-blown scandal. For those who had once admired Diddy's meteoric rise and larger-than-life persona, the rumors felt like a betrayal. How could someone so revered and celebrated be tied to something so dark? As the year drew to a close, the world would soon learn that the story of Star Island, and Diddy's connection to it, was only beginning to unfold. March 2024. The tranquil waters around Star Island were disrupted by the deafening sound of helicopters and flashing lights of law enforcement vehicles. The FBI, in collaboration with Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, and local police, launched a massive operation targeting the mansion of Sean Diddy Combs. What had started as rumors had escalated into a full-scale investigation into allegations of sex trafficking, drug distribution, and possession of illegal firearms. The raid wasn't limited to Star Island. Simultaneously, federal agents descended on Diddy's Los Angeles estate, a sprawling $40 million property known for its lavish amenities. The coordinated strikes were the result of months of surveillance, reports, and mounting evidence. The sheer scale of the operation sent a clear message. Authorities weren't taking these allegations lightly. As agents moved through the grand halls of Diddy's Miami mansion, they uncovered a scene straight out of a crime drama. Hidden rooms, carefully concealed behind false walls, revealed an unsettling array of items. Firearms, stacks of ammunition, and illegal substances were just the beginning. Even more chilling were the crates of baby oil and lubricants, allegedly tied to violent sex events infamously referred to as freak-offs. But the most disturbing discovery was in the mansion surveillance room. Walls lined with monitors displayed footage captured from hidden cameras strategically placed throughout the property. These cameras, investigators believe, recorded intimate and potentially incriminating moments during Diddy's infamous parties. The footage reportedly included multiple angles of guests, many unaware they were being filmed, participating in what prosecutors described as controlled, exploitative events. The discoveries at Diddy's Los Angeles home added another layer of intrigue. Agents found an underground network of tunnels rumored to connect the mansion to other properties in the area, including the legendary Playboy Mansion. While no direct evidence linked the tunnels to criminal activity, their existence raised eyebrows and fueled speculation about their purpose. As the raids concluded, the scope of the allegations became clear. Authorities accused Diddy of orchestrating these events as a means of manipulation, using the recorded footage as leverage over influential attendees. Comparisons were quickly drawn to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, with prosecutors suggesting that Diddy's gatherings weren't just about excess and indulgence. They were about control and exploitation. News of the raid spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. Media outlets dissected every detail, and social media erupted with speculation. Supporters of Diddy called the raids an unfair ambush, echoing his attorney's statements that the investigation was based on meritless accusations stemming from civil lawsuits. But others were less forgiving, pointing to the mounting evidence as proof that Diddy's empire was built on more than music and business acumen. One detail that captured the public's attention was Diddy's response, or lack thereof. Just hours after the raids, his private jet was tracked flying to the Caribbean. This sparked intense speculation about whether he was attempting to flee the investigation. Was it a coincidence, or was Diddy making a calculated move to evade authorities? His legal team denied any wrongdoing, insisting that Diddy had no reason to hide. But the timing couldn't have been more suspicious. As the investigation progressed, additional reports emerged about the true nature of the freak-off parties. Witness accounts described a chilling environment where guests were encouraged to drink heavily and partake in recreational substances. Many claimed they were manipulated into compromising situations, all while being recorded without their consent. The lavish settings of Diddy's mansions, once symbols of success and excess, now felt like prisons for those who attended these gatherings. The fallout was immediate. Hollywood elites who had once celebrated Diddy's rise now found themselves distancing from him, issuing statements of denial or remaining conspicuously silent. Some attendees of his infamous parties came forward anonymously, describing the events as controlled chaos, where they felt powerless to leave. Others claimed they had no idea what was happening behind the scenes, but now questioned their own participation in Diddy's world. For the public, the revelations were both shocking and heartbreaking. How could a figure so beloved and influential be tied to such darkness? Diddy had been a symbol of ambition and resilience, someone who had risen from humble beginnings to dominate the music industry. But now, that image was tarnished, replaced by a narrative of manipulation and secrecy. As the legal case against Diddy unfolded, the evidence continued to grow. Prosecutors hinted that this was only the beginning, suggesting that more high-profile names could be implicated in the scandal. The raids on Diddy's properties were not just an isolated investigation. They were part of a larger reckoning for Hollywood and the culture of power that allowed such behavior to thrive. The raid on Star Island marked the beginning of the end for Sean Diddy Combs as the world had known him. What had once been a story of success and celebration was now a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the shadows that can lurk behind even the brightest lights of fame. The question was no longer about what had been found. It was about what else remained hidden. The fallout from the FBI's raids on Sean Diddy Combs' properties was swift and unrelenting. As the shocking discoveries made headlines worldwide, Diddy found himself at the center of an intense legal battle. Accusations of sex trafficking, illegal drug distribution, and weapon possession painted a dark picture of the once celebrated music mogul. Diddy's immediate response was defiance. Through his attorney, He released a statement calling the raids an unprecedented ambush and a witch hunt aimed at destroying his reputation. His legal team argued that the allegations were baseless, stemming from civil lawsuits designed to extort money from a successful figure in the entertainment industry. But as investigators continued to unearth damning evidence, the narrative of victimhood began to crumble. The first major showdown took place in court. Diddy's attorneys submitted a bold request for bail, offering a staggering $50 million package, including his Miami mansion on Star Island as collateral. They argued that Diddy posed no flight risk, claiming his private jet's trip to the Caribbean shortly after the raids was planned long before the investigation. But prosecutors painted a different picture. They pointed to the evidence seized during the raids: firearms, drugs, and surveillance footage from hidden cameras, all tied to the allegations of manipulation and exploitation. The prosecution described Diddy as a man with immense resources and global connections, someone who could easily disappear if released. Their argument was compelling, and the judge swiftly denied the bail request. The courtroom atmosphere was electric. Supporters of Diddy, including some members of the entertainment industry, showed up in solidarity. But their presence did little to sway the judge's decision. The weight of the charges and the growing mountain of evidence was too significant to overlook. Behind the scenes, Diddy's legal team scrambled to counter the prosecution's claims. They argued that the seized items were taken out of context, insisting that the parties at Diddy's mansion were nothing more than extravagant celebrations, not criminal enterprises. They described Diddy as a visionary, a man who lived life on a grand scale but was being unfairly targeted for his success. Yet, the details emerging from the investigation painted a much darker image. Authorities revealed that over 96 electronic devices, including phones, laptops, and hard drives, have been confiscated during the raids. These devices reportedly contained terabytes of data, including emails, messages, and videos that allegedly supported the charges against Diddy. One prosecutor described the evidence as overwhelming and damning, fueling public outrage. Public reaction was divided. Longtime fans of Diddy, who had admired his rise from a young entrepreneur to a global icon, were left grappling with the allegations. Some defended him, echoing his claims of innocence and calling the investigation a targeted attack on a successful black businessman. Others, however, were less forgiving. Social media was ablaze with debates, with hashtags like #DiddyTruth and #JusticeForVictims trending for days. As the legal proceedings continued, whispers of a broader conspiracy began to circulate. Sources close to the investigation suggested that Diddy's case was only the tip of the iceberg. The seized surveillance footage reportedly implicated other high-profile figures who had attended his infamous parties. Prosecutors hinted that additional charges could follow, potentially dragging Hollywood's elite further into the scandal. For Diddy, the stakes couldn't have been higher. His empire, built on decades of success in music, fashion, and business, was crumbling under the weight of the allegations. The man who once stood as a symbol of resilience and ambition now faced the possibility of losing everything, not just his fortune, but his freedom. In one particularly dramatic moment during the court proceedings, a prosecutor addressed the judge with a chilling statement. "This is not just about Sean Combs. This is about holding someone accountable who has used their power and influence to exploit others while believing they are untouchable." The words reverberated through the courtroom, leaving a palpable tension in the air. Despite the mounting pressure, Diddy remained defiant. His legal team vowed to fight every charge, promising to expose what they called the truth behind these unfounded allegations. But with each passing day, the odds seemed stacked against him. For the public, the unfolding legal drama was as captivating as it was unsettling. Diddy's story, once a tale of triumph and innovation, had transformed into a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power. The question now wasn't just whether Diddy would be found guilty. It was what his case would reveal about the darker corners of fame, fortune, and the entertainment industry itself. As the legal battle raged on, one thing became clear. This wasn't just the fight of Diddy's life. It was the fight for his legacy. And for those watching from the outside, It was a stark reminder that even the most untouchable figures could face the full weight of justice. The world waited with bated breath for what would come next. The allegations against Sean Diddy Combs sent shockwaves far beyond the gates of his Star Island mansion. What began as an investigation into one man quickly spiraled into a broader reckoning for Hollywood's culture of power, privilege, and secrecy. As more details from the raids emerged, the entertainment industry was forced to confront uncomfortable questions about its own complicity in enabling such behavior. The evidence uncovered during the investigation, hidden surveillance cameras, secret recordings, and an alleged list of high-profile attendees at Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, was more than just damning for Diddy himself. It implicated others. Names of A-list celebrities, producers, and business moguls began circulating in whispers and anonymous reports, leaving Hollywood scrambling to manage the fallout. For years, Diddy's parties had been celebrated as exclusive events where the elite gathered to network and let loose. But now, these gatherings were being re-examined under a harsh new light. Witnesses described a carefully orchestrated environment where guests were encouraged to indulge in excess, their inhibitions lowered, and their actions, unknowingly, recorded. The implications of these recordings were chilling. Prosecutors alleged that some of the footage was used as leverage, creating a web of influence and control over attendees. This revelation sent a ripple of fear through Hollywood. Suddenly, relationships that once seemed glamorous and genuine were called into question. Were they built on mutual admiration, or were they fueled by coercion and blackmail? The entertainment world's response was mixed. Some of Diddy's former collaborators and acquaintances publicly distanced themselves from him, releasing carefully worded statements that condemned any form of exploitation. Others, however, chose to remain silent, their refusal to comment fueling speculation about their potential involvement. One particularly damning report suggested that Diddy's parties weren't isolated incidents, but part of a larger pattern within the industry. A former staffer, speaking under anonymity, claimed, "What happened at those parties wasn't unique. Hollywood has been built on this culture of silence and protection for decades. Diddy's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle." This statement resonated deeply with the public, many of whom had already grown skeptical of the entertainment industry's ability to hold itself accountable. The comparisons to Jeffrey Epstein were inevitable, as both cases highlighted the use of power and wealth to exploit and manipulate. But unlike Epstein's network, which primarily targeted the vulnerable, Diddy's alleged actions targeted the powerful, those who were supposed to be untouchable. On social media, debates raged. Some defended Diddy, insisting that he was being unfairly targeted because of his race and success. Others argued that the evidence spoke for itself, and that his fame shouldn't shield him from accountability. Hashtags like #DiddyScandal and #JusticeForVictims trended for weeks, as people shared their outrage, disbelief, and demands for transparency. Adding fuel to the fire were revelations from podcasts and independent media outlets. Joe Rogan, one of the most influential voices in modern media, dedicated multiple episodes to dissecting the scandal. Drawing parallels to past Hollywood controversies, Rogan described Diddy's case as a symptom of a larger disease plaguing the industry. "This isn't just about Diddy," Rogan declared. "This is about power dynamics in Hollywood, how they've been abused for decades, and how everyone's been complicit in keeping it quiet." The fear in Hollywood was palpable. What if the tapes really existed? What if the allegations were true, and the recordings implicated some of the biggest names in the industry? The thought alone was enough to send shockwaves through the community. For many, it wasn't just about Diddy. It was about what his downfall might reveal about the darker side of fame. For fans, the revelations were heartbreaking. Diddy had long been seen as a pioneer, a symbol of ambition and resilience who had overcome countless challenges to become a global icon. To see his name associated with such accusations felt like a betrayal, not just of his fans, but of the values he claimed to represent. But beyond the anger and disappointment, there was also hope. Hope that this scandal might finally spark a real conversation about accountability in Hollywood. Advocates for industry reform seized the moment, calling for systemic changes to protect against future abuses of power. Hollywood has hidden behind its glitz and glamour for too long, one activist said in a viral video. If this is what it takes to shine a light on its darker corners, then so be it. As the investigation continued, the entertainment world braced for more revelations. Prosecutors hinted that Diddy's case was just the beginning and that more names could emerge in the coming weeks. The public, meanwhile, watched with bated breath, wondering how deep the corruption truly ran. For Hollywood, the stakes had never been higher. The scandal was no longer just about Diddy. It was about an industry built on power and secrecy and whether it could finally confront its darkest truths. And for those who had long demanded accountability, it was a moment of reckoning that had been decades in the making. The question was no longer whether Diddy would face justice. It was whether Hollywood itself could survive the weight of its own exposed secrets. The revelations surrounding Sean Diddy Combs have left an indelible mark, not just on Hollywood, but on everyone who followed his story of success, resilience, and influence. Once celebrated as a trailblazer in music and business, Diddy now stands at the epicenter of one of the most shocking scandals in recent memory. The sheer magnitude of the allegations and the evidence brought forward have forced the world to confront uncomfortable truths about power, privilege, and the shadows that lurk behind the glitzy facade of fame. For Diddy, the days of invincibility are over. His once unshakable empire now teeters on the brink, overshadowed by accusations that could strip him of everything he's built. Not just his wealth, but his legacy. The man who once inspired millions with his rise from the streets of Harlem to the pinnacle of the music industry now faces the daunting reality that his name may forever be tied to betrayal, exploitation, and manipulation. But this isn't just about Diddy. It's about the countless lives touched, damaged, or destroyed by the systems that allowed this behavior to persist unchecked. Victims have begun to emerge, sharing stories of coercion, fear, and the trauma they endured. Their voices, once silenced by the weight of Diddy's power and influence, are now echoing across social media, news platforms, and courtrooms. The world listens, torn between anger at the betrayal and compassion for those who have suffered in the shadows. One woman, speaking anonymously to protect her identity, described how she was drawn into Diddy's orbit with promises of career opportunities. What she found instead, she said, was a world that felt glamorous at first but quickly became a nightmare. Her voice broke as she described the pain of realizing she had been used and discarded. Stories like hers bring a sobering dose of reality to the glossy image Hollywood often projects. For the industry, this moment feels like a crossroads. The scandal has exposed not just Diddy's alleged wrongdoings, but also the broader culture that has protected powerful figures for far too long. The entertainment world now faces a critical question. Will this be the catalyst for true reform, or will it simply be another story that fades away as the news cycle shifts? Advocates for change see this as a moment of reckoning. Industry insiders and activists alike are calling for stricter accountability measures, better protections for vulnerable individuals, and a culture that prioritizes humanity over profit. This isn't just about cleaning up Hollywood, one activist said. It's about showing the world that no one is above the law, no matter how much power or money they have. As for the public, the scandal has left many grappling with conflicting emotions. For fans who grew up idolizing Diddy, the fall of their hero feels like a betrayal on a deeply personal level. How do you reconcile the admiration you once felt with the disappointment of learning the truth? How do you separate the art from the artist, the music from the man? Yet amidst the anger and sadness, there's also a sense of hope. Hope that this story, as painful as it is, might inspire change, not just in Hollywood, but in all spaces where power can be abused. Hope that the voices of survivors will finally be heard and valued, and that their courage will lead to justice, not just for themselves, but for others who may never come forward. As the legal battle against Diddy unfolds, the world waits with bated breath. Prosecutors have hinted that more revelations are on the horizon, and whispers of additional names tied to the scandal grow louder. The entertainment industry braces for impact, knowing that what comes next could shake its foundations even further. And for those watching, the questions linger. What else remains hidden behind the gates of Hollywood's grand mansions? Will the powerful truly be held accountable? Or will the cycle of silence, and complicity continue. How do we, as a society, balance the allure of fame with the responsibility to demand integrity from those we admire? This story isn't over. It's a chapter in a much larger narrative about power, justice, and the human capacity for both harm and redemption. As we reflect on what's come to light, we must also look inward and ask ourselves what kind of world we want to build and what role we play in holding it accountable. So, what do you think? Is this the moment Hollywood finally changes? Or will it be just another scandal swept under the rug once the headlines fade? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Because this story isn't just about Diddy. It's about all of us.